afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time of day it is for you, it's good that we have you to join us today. Today on the show, we're going to be joined by two of our good friends from church who are fathers, and that's what we're going to be surrounding our topic around. Today, we'll also have Justin's jokes thrown in there like we always do, and then we'll answer a listener question because, again, that's all we got is one, and it's from Gable, so we can appreciate him for that. All right, I'm joined today by Garrett Horn, as always. How you doing, buddy?
I am not a father.
He is not. I'm joined by Geoffrey Knutson. How are you?
Hi.
He is a father. And Cody Wright. How are you?
I'm great.
All right. Well, I guess we'll just jump right in and get started. Why don't you go first with your first question for our gentleman here?
All right, my first question, quit trying to cheat, Geoffrey, is for Cody. What has been your scariest moment as a father? What's been the scariest thing that's happened?
Let's see. The scariest moment would have been last fall. My oldest son, he was playing on the backyard. Kind of a long story, so I won't get all into it. Fell off. Well, he got pushed by his little brother off of a picnic table, broke his arm.
Ooh.
So that was the scariest moment.
Yeah.
That would be scary.
Sounds like a brother.
Yeah.
I wish I had a brother. I love my sisters.
I have a little brother, but it's different.
Geoffrey is my brother,
That's
but
true.
I didn't meet him till I was like 12.
Yeah.
So.
Well, how would you respond, Geoffrey? Do you have any scary moments with your child thus far? I guess the jaundice thing.
Probably like the first 2 seconds he was alive.
Yeah, I bet.
They took him away. He wasn't breathing.
Yeah,
So
that would be terrifying.
and then didn't give him back for 3 hours.
Yeah.
That was interesting.
Yeah, that
You
would be.
didn't see him for 3 hours after he was born?
No, I saw him. They just didn't give him to me.
Oh, okay.
Oh. That's got to be a weird experience, having your child to where they will not let you handle your child right after.
Yeah, he's in a little box with lights on him.
With lights on.
He didn't want to breathe.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah,
He's breathing now, right?
yeah,
Good.
that is great.
a lot. Yes.
That's good.
Very strong lungs.
All right, well, I guess I will ask Geoffrey the next question. What scares you the most about raising a child, Geoffrey?
I haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, a little bit of background. Geoffrey, he just had his first child recently. He's a month old, and then Mr. Cody has been a father 4 times. So, and your oldest one is how old?
About 8.5.
8.5.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Wow.
how old were you when y'all had your first child?
28.
28.
Just before we turned 28.
Yeah. Wow. Right.
And I'm younger than he was. So.
And is, I would
Well,
say.
that too, but I don't know what I'm doing. Cut that out.
So nothing scares you the most about having a child? I mean, I'm talking future.
There's a lot. You'll understand one day.
I know. We're trying to learn about
I
it.
don't know. I don't know yet. There's just so many different things. You just don't know.
You just don't know.
Just trying to get through the day right now, huh?
No, I mean he's just there, and you're just like, okay. You don't really. I asked Joycelyn the other day. I said, "So when do we have to give him back? Because you don't really realize he's just there,
Yeah.
always." So,
Always.
It
Yeah.
changes quickly.
yeah, and you're like, okay, yeah. We were both like, well, I guess we don't have to give him back. So I don't know yet.
Well, Mr. Cody, as when you were a first-time father, thinking back, what was something that terrified you, keep you up at night, that kind of thing, about raising children?
I guess just about something, health-wise happening.
Right.
Because we were new parents just like Geoffrey is.
Yeah.
Right now, my scariest thought is just as they grow, from a spiritual standpoint, one of them falling away.
Right.
That's the scariest thing.
Right.
Health issues obviously are not cool,
Yeah.
if they're negative health issues.
Uh-huh.
But spiritually, that's the worst thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely, I could see that. That'd be terrifying. My parents had my little brother when I was 8.5, so I've kind of gotten to watch him grow up, and I haven't been a parent, of course, but I've had it from a little bit of a different standpoint than some people might have, and so I guess I've had similar thoughts enter my brain, something physically happening, and now it's more so as they've gotten older, the same thing that you're talking about, the spiritual standpoint. So anyway, moving on. Next for I guess you're going to Geoffrey.
I go to Geoffrey now. See, I've known Geoffrey a long, long time, so I know a lot about him. So I want to know for you, how have the last 4 weeks changed you as a person?
We've seen change in you.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Why don't you tell me how I've changed?
Well, I've seen a much softer
Softer?
Geoffrey.
Yeah, but every time you've seen me, I've been holding a baby.
That's very true.
So I couldn't hit Garrett.
Well, I have seen you hit Garrett since you've had.
I've been trying to teach Zeke to do that. How have I changed? I would say the past 4 weeks. I mean, I don't know. You're still. It's completely different, and yet it just works. It's just natural, but it's different. So I mean, I know some people say it's not natural, but it's just like, okay, here he is. Okay. I mean, and I move on.
And
I'd say
with it.
I'd say the changes, if they, I mean, more probably changes while she was pregnant, thinking, time to do this, time to do that. So,
Have you slept in 4 weeks?
oh, I sleep a lot.
Jeffrey's also going through.
I haven't slept in 8 years.
Yeah. Jeffrey's also going through school. I guess you just returned for your first semester. Is that right?
Yeah,
You're finishing
my
up
second
the first-
bachelor's degree.
In accounting, right?
Yes.
All right.
Garrett.
So-
Welcome to the club.
That's got to be. Is that challenging at all? Having a newborn and trying to handle that schoolwork plus
No,
working 40
I got
plus
over
hours?
100 average in both classes. Does
Well-
that no?
Okay, we get it. You're smart.
Well, you asked if it was challenging. That's the only way I can say that.
So we'll go back to Mr. Cody here. Let's see. How do you describe the thoughts and feelings you had while holding your children for the first time? And you can even break it up into each 4 if you'd like, or you can just go for the first one.
Obviously it was incredible. You're holding a new little baby, and I haven't been around kids much until we had our own. So it was just incredible to see that child and know that it was from both of you.
Right.
Had the same blood flowing through you. That was just incredible.
Uh-huh.
That's
and all
deep,
the
man.
and all the little systems that came together,
Yeah.
to form that child. It was amazing. I mean, it doesn't really change. The first one was the most profound because I'd never experienced that before,
Right.
as Geoffrey just experienced. And that profoundness doesn't change, I mean, really, but just the first one's like, wow, we have a child,
Right.
And then the next 3 for us, I mean, it's been wonderful, each one of them, but they're all just amazing.
Right. Right. And Jeffrey, you said that they took him away from you. Did you get to experience that moment where you're holding a child for the first time? And
I mean, by the time we
Right
got
after
him
his birth.
back, it was like 3:30 in the morning, and we'd been awake for a good.
are you saying that you slept instead of held your baby?
I mean, yeah, we probably fell asleep within a half hour of getting him back because he was asleep too. So we just
Okay. So that was the first time you held him
yeah.
when they brought
We
him.
just kind of took him, and I don't know.
All right.
I mean, it was there. It was very, very late. So I remember sitting there looking at him under the lights, and he was like they said he was stunned. So he was just sitting there with his eyes open, and he wasn't actually looking at you, but he looked like he was looking at you, and
Right.
just staring at you. It was like, hi.
Yeah. Were there any thoughts running through your brain as you're doing
Lots of them.
that? Like?
What have I done?
Yeah.
No.
What we do.
Yeah. Well, what do you do? What are you doing?
What are you looking at?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you watch your wife grow for 9 months, and suddenly there's this thing, and it was inside of her, but you try to picture it, but he said the same thing. It's even if you're around babies, it's suddenly, and I keep saying it. For once, nobody can tell me what to do with this child.
Right.
He's mine to do what I want with. So if I'm comfortable holding him with one hand, what do you think about that, Garrett? If I'm comfortable,
We're gonna get into that later.
if I'm comfortable holding him with one hand, I can. And so it definitely, the sense of responsibility is there, more just because it's forced upon you. I mean, even at the hospital, we had no idea what we were doing. Just because it was 3 a.m., we didn't know, are they going to keep coming in back and forth? And like I said, we fell asleep. He fell asleep. We were all asleep, and the nurse comes in sometime the next morning and asks about whether he was eating, did he, dirty his diaper, and we're just like, oh, we tried to feed him, but the diaper thing, we didn't know if we had diapers. And we're like, we're supposed to. She's like, oh, if he's in the room, he's your responsibility. They should have told you that last night. And we're like, well, Nope. I guess not. So yeah, he probably had a dirty diaper for a while. But oh well.
It's pretty good.
You learn.
Yeah, that's a pretty good experience. Go ahead, Garrett.
Oh, is it mine again?
It's yours again.
All right. In contrast to my scariest question, what is the funniest thing one of your kids has done, or do you have a couple funny things that they've done?
Funniest thing.
You can embarrass them now. It's okay.
Yeah, they're not here.
They're not going to listen to this. Who does?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, they do funny stuff all the time. One of the funniest things, probably, our oldest child. We were at Walmart one day, and he was probably 4 at the time. And we were walking down one of the aisles, and some lady, we were standing there looking at something, and some lady walked up, and she was looking at something else, and she had really short shorts on. And he just looked over very plainly and said, "Daddy, she's naked." And I just, what do you say? You know, she's right there 2 feet away, so we just laughed. Probably good for her to hear.
Right. Yes, son. Yes, she is.
That's awesome.
That is great. What's the funniest thing Zeke's done, Jeffrey?
Well, when they're this little, JJ, the only thing that's funny is bathroom humor. I mean, when they're gassy, they think it's funny. And so at one point, I see his little fist start to pump up in the air, and he just lets one rip. So, I mean, that's the only thing that was funny, and he smiled. He thought it was funny too. So
that was gas too.
Yes, yeah. This one wasn't though. There's a picture on my screen. I made him laugh.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
What a dad.
I know, right?
What a dad.
He's a natural.
He sure is. We're going to pause for a second and go ahead and do Justin's jokes. Every week Justin gives us these jokes, and he gave us another double feature. They're horrible, but we appreciate the fact that he takes the time to give them to us. So the first one is, why did Mozart kill all his chickens?
Why?
Because when he asked them who the best composer was, they would say Bach, Bach, Bach.
I like that one, but most people probably won't get that one. You get it?
Of course I get it.
Yeah.
I'm
a big fan of Bach.
Oh, okay. Sebastian. Okay, and then the second one is, what did one eye say to the other? Don't look now, but something smells between us.
Oh.
I thought that they were lackluster this
1
week.
out of 10.
Yeah, pretty terrible. But
actually, negative 10 out of 10.
Got to be at least a 2 out of 10. There's 2 nostrils.
Was that a joke?
Make it stop.
That was terrible. But we'll thank him anyway, I guess. Anyway, moving back into the questions. For you, Jeffrey, what have you been most surprised about after having your son? What's been the most surprising thing?
It's not nearly as bad as people make it out. The lack of, not being able to sleep, or him screaming all the time, or,
Ask your wife about that.
She even says it's not that bad. No, she even says it's people talk about how bad it is, and the screaming, and how breakable they are, and you have to be so careful. And I'm like, they're not nearly as breakable as people make them out there.
Right.
And maybe he's just a perfect child. Probably
he's yours.
Well, I was gonna say he's Joycelyn's.
Oh.
Everybody said she was a perfect baby when she was a baby, evidently.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you think that this wasn't one of my questions, but
it's not written down, you can't ask it.
do you think that Zeke thus far has been more like Joycelyn or you as a baby, from what you've heard from parents?
Well, that was 26 years ago for both of us, and I was only there for one of them, and I was a baby, so I don't know.
He looks more like Joy, right?
I think he does. He doesn't have a big nose.
Little nose.
Big cheeks.
Well, I'll go ahead and give that question to Mr. Cody. What has surprised you the most about having children?
I guess just the fact that priorities change so quickly.
Uh-huh.
When you're typically single and then you're married, you have all these aspirations of doing things and going places, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then once a child comes in, that, and that's not a negative thing. Just
right.
Priorities change. You're focused on that child. I used to work out a whole lot more than I do now because I don't have time, and that's fine. I prefer to spend more time with my family. So that's the biggest thing for me is just the priority change.
Right.
Did you work out a lot before, Jeffrey?
Yes.
Ooh, that is a lie.
Liar. Go ahead, Garrett.
All right, Jeffrey, here's my last question. Can you please not hold your child with one hand in front of me? It scares me.
No.
Man,
why do you do it?
listen,
It's
y'all,
just natural. I mean, you just
Yeah,
kind of
you
go
just-
for it.
Yeah.
he scares me. I love little Zeke, and I'm always like, he's gonna drop him.
You held him with one hand the other day.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I had my entire arm around him.
Well, see, when
But
they're
yeah.
that little, they don't move much. I mean, they're
Yeah.
just right there.
Yeah, he's
It's
not
very
floppy.
easy.
He's not floppy. You just hold
And you
him.
feel like you're just holding a marshmallow. I mean, it's so
Right.
light. You know.
Right.
He's only like 7.5 pounds.
It's gonna be okay. He knows what
He
he's
doesn't
doing,
flop
so.
around, and I have tiny hands, but his body still fits in between my thumb and my pinky, and I can hold on to him.
You're gonna
Yeah.
give me a heart attack one day.
And he actually has a very strong neck for a 4-week-old.
How do you judge that?
I googled what he should be able to do with his neck, and they said, if you lay him like this, he should be able to move it this way. If you lay him like this, he should be able to move it this way. And we were looking at it like 2 weeks ago, and he was already doing stuff that he was supposed to do when he was a month to 2 months. So
Gotcha.
if you can trust Google, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
And my last question is for Cody. How do you deal with the differences between each of your children? Like, as a parent, you see these different personalities, different reactions to different types of discipline, that kind of thing. So,
Right.
how do you go about making those distinguishes, and how do you deal with them from a day-to-day basis?
That's interesting. Yeah, all of ours, Evan, Archer, Logan, are all different. Callan's too young yet to tell his
Right,
personality.
Right.
For whatever reason, Archer, our second, is more sensitive, where I can talk more sternly to him as far as discipline. I can talk more sternly to him, and he just kind of falls apart. And he gets the point. I'm
Right.
not going to do that again, whatever it might be.
Right.
Where Evan, I just got to spank it out of him, and Logan, double spanking.
That was me.
I was the one where my dad used to look at me a certain way, and I would just start crying.
I was so stubborn.
Still are.
Yeah, I'm still pretty stubborn.
Yes, you are.
So you just got to focus on each one. I mean, you got to learn them, obviously, and over the years you learn them,
Right.
and see what works best for each one.
Do you ever find yourself like realizing that you're giving maybe the discipline that wouldn't work as well to one child? Do you understand my question? Like giving the wrong type of discipline to that child?
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, you try different things out for for each one,
Right.
and obviously some work for some and some don't. For some work and some don't. You find that out very quickly.
Right.
If you're spanking, and we firmly believe in spanking because
Right.
of what the Bible says, in the proper way,
Right.
and always disciplining in love. That's
Of course,
absolutely
of
key.
course.
But you find out very quickly if it works. If you spank a child, and I've spanked Logan like this, just a normal spanking, and he kind of laughs,
Uh-huh.
you got to go to level 2.
Yeah,
you know?
wasn't me.
So that's individual basis.
How does that make you feel as a father when your child laughs at you when you spank him?
It doesn't make me mad. It's just I almost have to laugh, myself.
Uh-huh.
But I realize that I would be doing him a disservice if I didn't discipline him further,
Right.
because he didn't get the point.
Uh-huh.
So
Right. Which one would you have been as a child? The more sensitive one that just the look would get you, or the
probably
spanking?
somewhere in between.
Somewhere in
I
between.
required spanking,
Right.
So somewhere in between.
Gotcha.
I didn't require 2 spankings.
Yeah,
I hated those things.
I didn't require 2, but what about you, Jeffrey? How many spankings did it take for you to get the point?
I don't remember. I remember telling my mom it didn't hurt once.
Ooh.
She got the wooden spoon.
Yeah, I bet. I bet that's rough. Let's see. That's all your questions, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, then, lastly, I guess from y'all, what I would want is for us, 2 single guys. Of course, you're engaged, but unmarried guys here. What kind of advice would y'all give? You're 2 completely different stages in your life, y'all 2. But from Jeffrey first, what kind of advice would you give us as you're just now a father and being able to raise a child?
As I've said, I don't really know what I'm doing yet, so
I understand that.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe
It's not nearly as complicated as people say it is.
You only
How
have
about-
4
how
more
about
weeks of
that?
experience than me.
Exactly.
But you have 9 months or close to 9 months of having a pregnant wife.
Yes, but she was perfect.
Good
She
answer.
didn't have any problems. No, she didn't
That's
have any
nice.
problems. She wasn't ever sick. All she did was get a little bit bigger. And I think she already weighs less than she did before she was pregnant. So
Shout out to Joy.
I know she's
Way to
crazy.
go, Joy.
She's crazy. I don't know. It's not nearly as complicated as people think it is. Just put in your mind, okay, go for it. and you will.
Okay.
That's my mindset most of the time. It's mind over matter. Just that's what it is. So that's what it is.
Okay. And Mr. Cody?
For me, it would be first of all patience. Have patience with the child. Whether it's and our children, all 4 of them have been great. None of them are colicky. And Jeffrey mentioned earlier about how some children cry a lot. That's typically there's a reason for it. Ours cry if they're dirty or if they're hungry. That's the way they've always been at that early stage. And of course, I do the same thing. So you can't really get on to it. But so patience, and then learning from others' experiences, and then from each one of mine. You just learn as you go. Patience is a key, and of course, like I said, learning from other people. Ask other parents that you see that you think are doing a good job. Ask them what you think, or ask them what they think about certain things or whatever about parenting, and you can learn a lot.
Right. I can see how that would be the case. Well, we really appreciate y'all joining us for this. I apologize for not getting at least my questions to you beforehand, but y'all did a great job, and we really appreciate the input there, and hopefully the listeners and me and Garrett can both learn from what they've said. I know I've learned stuff, so we put it out on social media to give us questions, as we always do, and for the second straight week, Gable Duke was the only person that gave us anything. So way to go, Gable.
Gable, you're our favorite fan.
We really appreciate it. Apparently love me more than my mom, so no,
Ooh.
I'm just kidding.
And he just lost a listener.
But he asked me, Mufasa or Darth Vader, who's the better dad? He asked this because they're both voiced by James Earl Jones.
Easily
Very
Mufasa.
serious question.
Yeah, I would say Mufasa, definitely.
Mufasa risked his life for his son and was a great dad, and Darth Vader was a horrible person.
But he risked his life at the end. He came back to the good side.
Yeah, but Mufasa was good all the
He
way.
killed the emperor
Mufasa was good all the way through.
and then died.
So you think Darth Vader was a better dad?
I'm not
than
saying
Mufasa?
he's a better dad.
Well, then that's the question.
And
give us an answer, sir.
I'm not saying he's a better dad, but I mean, it's not really a fair comparison either.
But they were voiced by the same guy.
Yeah, exactly.
So we need to determine if he's a better dad than the 2 he voiced.
I don't know if he's a dad.
I don't know either.
Sure
I
he
haven't
is.
wikied him.
So you didn't research the question.
No,
I didn't even know what the question was.
that's how we do things here, off the cuff. Get a genuine answer.
What about you, Cody?
Yeah. Well, I was pretty much that guy before. Maybe not to that extent, but I'll pull back the curtain for the listener a little bit. We're at Corbin's house today, and Corbin is sitting to my left. And as we ask a question about movies, I'm sure he is just dying to get in on it.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I don't know. Darth Vader's sacrifice is pretty significant.
Do you remember how Mufasa died?
Yeah. I mean, but they both made a somewhat of a sacrifice. So
Yeah.
Well,
it's a hard
Mufasa
decision. It's
didn't
hard
try to destroy an entire civilization like Darth Vader did.
And
He
was in
didn't
the
kill all the
clouds
Jedi.
afterwards.
There is no try. He destroyed the civilization.
Last I checked, the rebels won. Just saying.
Spoiler alert.
That's
Just
not
kidding.
who he was trying to destroy.
Well,
Yeah.
anyway, we could argue about this forever, I suppose. But we thank you, Gable, for giving us a question. So we really appreciate that. And please interact with us on social media.
Please.
I didn't mean to beg, but please, we beg you. But no, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter and interact with us on there. We try to interact with y'all as much as we can. And what's that, Jeffrey?
I have a question.
What's that?
I want to know why Garrett was in Thailand today.
Why was Garrett in Thailand today?
Because something absolutely crazy happened on Facebook. If you saw that, apparently I checked in at like a Thailand airport or something. But I was not really in Thailand. I was
Were you hacked?
I don't think so.
He
I
was
don't
in
know what
Bangkok.
happened. I was in Bangkok.
Bangkok, Thailand.
Where I was when my sister told me that she saw that on Facebook today, I began to wonder if we were going to record today.
Not in Thailand, but I wasn't there. Trust me. It's a lie.
Were you on Facebook today?
I was on Facebook today.
That's incredible.
It's pretty weird.
It's pretty good.
Gotta watch my face. If you get any strange messages or anything, I've been hacked, but I don't think that's what it was. I don't really know.
Why would a hacker say that you're in Thailand? That just
Maybe
doesn't
that's
make
where he
sense.
lives.
Ooh, that's a good point. Could be. Well, anyway, hope you had a good trip, buddy. All right. Anyway, in closing, we want to thank Katie, as we do every episode, for her excellent work on our jingle, and Kevin for helping us record that at his home. I don't know, this week I don't know if we should thank him, but we'll thank Justin for his jokes they sent us.
Made me miss the other ones.
Yeah.
And I thought those were bad.
Yeah. But anyway, thanks, buddy. And then we want to thank our editors every week. We want to thank Corbin for letting us record at his house and his awesome work for us, and Caleb as well. He couldn't join us this week, but they give their time and effort, and we really appreciate them for that. I personally want to thank Garrett for joining me today, and a big thank you to Cody and Geoffrey for joining us and talking about what it's like to be a father. And hopefully you've learned from that, and I've learned from that, and that'll be good for us and help us later in life. So. And then lastly, we want to thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoy this show. I guess we forgot to mention it, but we did just get on iTunes. All our episodes should be on there, so you can subscribe to us there and listen to us, or you can see us on SoundCloud. Well, I guess not see us. Hear us on SoundCloud.
You say that every single week.
I don't know why I do that. Anyway, so what, Geoffrey?
I know why you said it.
Why is that?
Because you learn visually.
I do.
Yes. And they will say that you can tell how people learn by what they say. If somebody says, I can see that, or I hear you, it's how they learn. You have to learn visually.
Well, you know what? One day you'll be trying to figure out which way Zeke learns. Do you already know? Surely not.
He doesn't really learn anything.
Oh, he's learning a lot right now.
I mean, he's learning right now, but the only thing he's learned so far is what time it is. He knows it's 10:30 and he starts screaming. So
I thought he was a good baby.
Right up until 10:30 at night.
He's a party animal.
Then his eyes pop open and he starts screaming.
Do you do that every night?
The past 4 nights in a row, yes.
That's pretty good.
Yes. Like clockwork. So
that's pretty good. Well, anyway, guys, we want to thank you for joining us today. Remember to live upside up in this upside down world, and we'll catch you next time.